Does Bach write for people? Of course, but he writes for God, I think. He just tries to do the things that are the best, the greatest, the most complex or perfect in terms of structure that he can think of, because he thinks that this is his duty as a composer, to maximize the use of the talent that he got. And for him it is to write those amazing chorales, to use the chorale melodies in such a way that it creates, new worlds, literally. You just have to think also of Bach working like an evangelist. For every Sunday that God brings to him, to write a musical sermon in order to convince people that they should change their lives. Many people call him the fifth evangelist for that, because he was so good at it. So that's what he wants to do. And in order to do that, he's pulling all stops in that piece. Trumpets, horns, flutes, oboes, d'amore, regular oboes da caccia. So many different colors. But it goes beyond that. He's using rhetoric to convince people of the importance of the message that is carried in that story. For instance, when Christ is born in the first cantata, the first thing we hear is a chorale. The chorale we hear is associated with Holy Week, the Passion. It's the chorale that he uses 5 times in the St. Matthew Passion, each time a semi-step lower. But for people sitting in the church and hearing that melody, they knew exactly what that melody meant, because that's the melody they used to sing on every year during the Holy Week. So here we are at the most joyful moment in the Christian calendar, as Christ is born, and the first melody we hear is one associated to the Passion, with the Passion. Why? Simply because he wants to remind his people, this child is coming to the world to suffer and to save us. So he does that in the same way a priest would have said it a few minutes before. But I think it's much more convincing, because it just strikes the imagination of people. And I think he's the best preacher the world has ever known, because we still listen to what he has to say today with new ears, every time I open the score, I discover things that I hadn't seen, that I hadn't noticed, or I make connections, I connect dots that I hadn't seen before. It's just, it's an amazing wealth of discoveries, and I hope I'll be able to perform it for as long as I can stand on a podium.